I had Yoga Nidra experiences in my life too with relaxation. It probably, I think my first one was like about 25 or 30 years ago. And I was very enamored of it. I started incorporating it with my yoga classes at the end. And I was also playing the gong for relaxation too during yoga classes. I thought, well, why are these two things separated? There's so much possibilities if we can bring sound into the Yoga Nidra process, especially the sound of the gong. So over time, a lot of things were revealed to me how to do this in the best possible way. And importantly, how do you play the gong differently in Gong Nidra? Because there is as you may have already discovered, there are different ways to play the gong for different purposes. You can play for therapy, you can play for meditation, you can play for relaxation, and then there's also a way to play, I think, that is very effective with Yoga Nidra, playing techniques and then learning how to work not only with the gong, but also with the voice to use instruction as we play the gong. So as we talk about Yoga Nidra today, all these things we're talking about how it works and the benefits, of course, apply to Gong Yoga Nidra. So we all know that when you hear the gong, there's a state of consciousness that develops from just hearing the sound. And Yoga Nidra is a very intentional way of entering another realm of consciousness and receptivity. And here's one way to look at it. We have, our awakened state, like we are right now. We're in that conscious mind, and our brains are working a little differently. You can actually measure the brain waves we're experiencing right now. This 13 to 20 CPS beta waves. This is where we get engaged with our senses, the world outside, our five senses, looking for external knowledge, like how do we compare things and contrast things and learn things, just like we're doing right now. And then there is that state that goes beneath the conscious mind, that goes right below sensory awareness. And we can call this state, for the want of a better word, Yoga Nidra or yogic sleep. It is a conscious state. It's not an unconscious state. They call it like the superconscious mind. In yoga, they call it Turiya. It's also called in psychology a hypnagogic state, where there's a high degree of receptivity. It's right before you would fall asleep. And I know many of us have had the experience of we're lying in bed. We're not quite yet asleep. We're still kind of awake, but we really couldn't even move our body. And we're not really aware of the sensory world around us, but we're conscious. But there's that state right before you drift off to sleep. That's a very receptive state. And a lot of times people used to use this for like sleep learning, where people are learning things while they're sleeping. And because that state, all the sensory input is down. The visual is down, the audio is down. We're in a darkened room usually. That's that place of deep relaxation where we can have our visionary revelations or our breakthroughs. And it's like lucid dreaming or conscious dreaming. A lot of archetypes come up in this state of what we call Yoga Nidra, that superconscious mind. And of course, below that state, we drop off into what is called the dreaming sleep, the rapid eye movement. They call it the subconscious mind, the theta state, measurable. It's during this state of dreaming sleep that we actually process a lot of our emotions, our suppressed fears and desires. That's why dreams are so crazy sometimes when we dream about these things. It's like we're actually trying to process this in this subconscious mind state. There's a subconscious dumping that goes on in that state. And then finally, once we get past that state, for a few hours each night, hopefully we get to enjoy deep sleep, the unconscious mind, way down to that deep delta state, instincts and primitive drives. The point to remember here is that the state of Yoga Nidra is between awakening and sleep. And we're trying to extend that state as long as we can. Most people only experience it for a few minutes. We want to try to draw it out to 30 minutes, maybe even an hour, where the state is maintained through guided suggestions, through the voice, and also, in this case, with the sound of the gong, to keep people in this borderline state where everything is very open. We can access all this hidden knowledge within ourselves, that superconscious mind that happens during the state of Yoga Nidra.